Auzubillahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Today is May 6th. May 6th, 2025. And time is 12:15 a.m. in night. Okay, this is government job, government bank recruitment exams, professors key to government bank job, questions, solutions and explanations, professor's occasion. I will try to read out the English sentences to improve my English speaking, to improve my English sentence structure, making of the structure, and basically to improve my overall English. I have to read a lot. I have to listen a lot. That's why I am reading here from the previous year questions that are written. The solutions are given here in English, so we'll try to read out that area. Let's go to Bangladesh Bank Assistant Director 2021 written exam. Examination held on 18th December 2021, duration 2 hours, for marks 200. Number 1 question for 35 marks. The environment problems facing today's world are so great that there is little ordinary people can do to improve the situation. The environment problems facing today's world are so great that there is little ordinary people can do to improve the situation. Government and large companies should be responsible for reducing the amount of damage being done to the environment. To what extent do you agree or disagree with this statement? Give reasons for your answer and include any relevant example from your own knowledge or experience. Answer: I do agree that not only the government but also large companies should be responsible. Halt. Stop. Pause for a second. First, let's understand what the question is all about. So, in today's era, we are facing many environment problems. So, what can we do? Is that the question, or I should read it again? The environment problems facing today's world are so great that there is little ordinary people can do to improve the situation. Government and large companies should be responsible for reducing the amount of damage being done to the environment. To what extent do you agree or disagree with this statement? Okay. Give reasons for your answer and include any relevant examples from your own knowledge or experience. So, here a statement has been given. We have to give our own perspective on that statement. Do I agree or not? So the statement is that in today's time we are facing many environment problems like climate change and flood, cyclone, earthquake, different types of environmental problems. So we as a simple being, as a little group of people, can do more action to it. As far I understand the questions, they said government and large companies are responsible, not responsible, should be responsible to reduce the damage that being done to the environment. So what I think, to what extent do I agree or disagree with this statement? I have to give reasons for the answer and include any relevant example from my knowledge, my own knowledge or experience. So, I do agree that not only the government but also large companies should be responsible for reducing the amount of damage done to the environment. What did they say? They say, I do agree that not only the government but also large companies should be responsible for reducing the amount of damage done to the environment. At the same time, people must play some key roles. What? People most or people must play some key roles to protect the environment. People must play. Is it okay? Or I am thinking wrong? The sentence is, at the same time, people must play some key roles to protect the environment. And I am thinking that at the same time it should be done like this: people must play some key roles to protect the environment. Okay, I have to mark it down, then we will see it later. We will research it later to make a better understanding on what the sentence are trying to say. It is people most means, is it saying a larger group of people, or it is saying people must play key roles? We have to do it. It is our responsibility. It is our ethical responsibility. So is the sentence, is or does the sentence trying to convey the message that a large amount of people should do for the environment, or we must do for the environment? Okay, people most. Okay, let's move around. Let's move to the next part. Let's move on. Okay, the current state of the environment is no longer to be ignored. The current state of the environment is no longer to be ignored. We must act accordingly. Understand these phrases, understand this sentence structure, how they are built, how they are said. We have to write it in this manner of way, how it is written on this textbook. It will enhance our sentence making ability. Okay, we must act accordingly to reduce further damage to the environment. While it is becoming increasingly evident that environmental problems such as climate change and global warming pose existential threats to human societies, these problems will very likely persist and even intensify unless governments enact effective environmental policies. Wow, it is a very long sentence, quite long sentence. The sentence I will again repeat, I will again read it loud. That is, while it is becoming increasingly evident that environmental problems such as climate change and global warming pose existential threats to human societies, these problems will very likely persist and even intensify unless government enact effective environmental policies. Okay, there is two parts. First, it is becoming increasingly the problems that poses existence threats to human societies. This is one part, and the second part is these problems will very likely persist. Persist means continuous, means these problems will not go down until government take strict action. So which tense is it? I don't know. Is it conditional? I don't know the grammatical rules exactly right now. I can't remember it. What is it? Is it simple sentence, complex sentence, compound sentence? I can't say it. And I am doing my post-graduation right now. I am pursuing my master's degree from disaster management, and my medium of instruction is English. And I can't say this sentence is simple, complex, or compound. I can't say which tense this. Maybe it is becoming is present continuous, but the overall sentence I can't say which tense they use because the sentence is quite big. I can't say is it conditional or not. I can't say which is finite, which is the independent clause, or which is the subordinate clause, or which is the coordinate clause. I can't even say anything. So what did I do? What did I done till that? It is a shame on me. It is really a shame on me. I am realizing that now. Okay, that's not the reason I am making the video. Don't panic, chill out. It's okay. I am here to identify my problems, to understand my ability, to enhance my speaking level. That's why I am reading. And these sentences, these lines, which I am saying right now, is coming from my mind. So, yeah, it is one kind of practice, I can say. Obviously, this will help me better. And by reading these sentences, I can learn the proper use of grammar. I can learn complex sentences. I can learn the sentence build-up, the structure of sentence, many phrases, many clauses, how they combined things, how they convey the message smoothly. So, yeah, that's why I am reading it. Please cooperate. And this sentence, please cooperate. I am telling myself, Muhammad Abdul Razzaq, and I am telling myself, please cooperate, my brain, please cooperate with my inner feelings. Okay, don't panic. I'm with you. My brain with my heart. My brain with my heart? What is it? My brain? Okay, leave it. Okay, move on. However, government policies and spending ultimately rely on public support. However, government policies and spending, government policies and spending ultimately rely on public support. Okay, while they are making sentences starting from while a lot, the last sentence I read, while it is becoming increasingly evident that environmental problems such as climate change and global warming pose existential threat to human societies, these problems will very likely persist and even intensify unless government enact effective environmental policies. And here another sentence is starting with while. What is it? While the global community has yet to successfully address large-scale environmental problems such as climate change and global warming, while the global community has yet successfully addressed, while the global community has yet to successfully, while the global community has yet to successfully address large-scale environmental problems such as climate change and global warming. Full stop. Why full stop? While the global community has yet to successfully address large-scale environmental problems, comma, such as climate change and global warming, full stop. Government is after ascribed a pivotal role in protecting the environment through the implementation of environmental policies that protect the environment directly or solve environmental problems. I think this total should be one sentence. Okay, the meaning is the global community is not yet successfully address all the environmental problems. I think so. So government is after ascribed, described here, ascribed a pivotal role in protecting the environment through the implementation of environmental policies that protect the environment directly or solve environmental problems. The prospects for governments to increase their efforts to protect the environment rely on public support, which imposes some time ago I read pose, P-O-S-E, pose. These problems will very likely persist and even intensify unless no. While it is becoming increasingly evident that environmental problems such as climate change and global warming pose existential threat, and here in this sentence where the prospects for government to increase their efforts to protect the environment rely on public support, which imposes substantial constraints on government's environmental policy ambitions. The government should, why my face are becoming sometimes black, not black or darker, why the light are dimming down sometimes. Okay, it's all about maybe focusing. Okay, that's not the matter of issue. I have to read it. I am going distracted. I'm getting distracted by the light of that video. Okay, that's not my matter of concern. The video is not meant to be clear. The video is to prove for myself that I can and I am able to do hard work consistently. Before making the video, I was in a call with someone and I said to her that I will make videos about I am reading or I am learning or I am doing my hard work to study. This is one kind of proof for her, not for her, for me. Sorry again, for me. This is one kind of zone where I can exactly talk with me. Here I can see myself. Here I can talk to me. I can see myself. I am talking to myself. And this is the way I love to do the study. And that's why I am making the video. That's the issue. This is only for me, not for anyone. Not to prove anyone. Only for me. Okay? Okay. Be clear. Be concise. Concise. Why the concise word came here? Oh, okay. Concise can be okay. But I have to make my clear understanding a concise shape. Okay. So, coming to the next part, government is after ascribed a pivotal role. Yeah, I have. Okay. It is not a matter of concerning issue that I am reading one sentence again and again. This is not a problem. The main purpose of mine here is to making my speaking, making my English level increased. How much English I will say, this will help me. I don't have to necessarily read random sentences every time. Okay. So the prospects for governments, the prospects for governments to increase their efforts to protect the environment rely on public support, which imposes substantial constraints on government's environmental policy ambitions. Yes, there is so much S in the words. The prospects for governments to increase their efforts to protect the environment rely on public support, which imposes substantial constraints on government's environmental policy ambitions. In one sentence, there is 7 plural words. Does, we can say is, are, do. Can we say all these words are plural words? I don't know. I don't exactly ensure you about these are all plural words. These are words with S, with added S. Okay, let's move on. This government should introduce the legislation in order to mitigate environmental problems. There should be some laws encouraging eco-friendly factories, which are called green factories. The government can play a prominent role by creating TV programs to educate citizens and to persuade them to care the nature more. Saving the energy, using the car in a lesser frequency, and recycling more are people's responsibilities in taking care of the earth, but government's part is to restore the natural part of the ecosystem by protecting the forests, rivers, oceans, and wetlands. The most feasible way, feasible is something that is easier, that is not too much costly, meaning it is something that we can do smoothly, not compromising anything. Feasible, it is a comfortable word. Okay, I understand what feasible mean, but I can't explain it well enough right now. That's lacking for me. Okay. The government can play a prominent role by creating TV programs to educate citizens and to persuade and to persuade them to care the nature more, saving the energy, using the car in a lesser frequency, and recycling more are people's responsibilities in taking care of the earth, but government's part is to restore the natural part of the ecosystem by protecting the forests, rivers, oceans, and wetlands. The most feasible way to save the planet is to heal the natural ecosystem. To help small producers in the agricultural industry and to promote green energy means maybe renewable energy. They want to say it. They want to say. They want to mean. To promote green energy are also key factors government must ensure. There are local producers who practice sustainable ways of food production. The best thing about this is the respect given to the local producers. The more development is carried out in a country, the more energy will be needed to produce. Of course, of course, of course. This is a must thing. The more development is carried out in a country, the more energy will be needed to produce. That's why USA and China is one of the top countries that needed so much power, because they have so many factories, they have many. If we think one of the city, the whole city are running on electricity, and where the electricity coming from? By energy. Where the energy coming from? By oil or solar energy or renewable or non-renewable energy. And the oil export, trade war, trade things. So yeah, we can say the more development is carried out in a country, the more energy will be needed to produce. Okay, which sentence is it? The more development is carried out in a country, the more energy will be needed to produce. The more development is carried out. Is carried. Is it present perfect or present simple? This is present tense, I can say. But the more development is carried out in a country, the more energy will be. Is it future simple? The more energy will be needed. Is it future perfect? But have, there is no have. I forgot the structure. Okay, that's not the issue. The more development is carried out in a country, the more energy will be needed to produce. Now, because of technological developments, government can be able to find better options. All sentence there is two part. Now, because of technological developments, government can be able to find better options. Okay. Roles of big companies to protect environment. Okay, till now we were talking about government, what government can do. Now we will be talking about big companies, how they can protect environment, what is their roles of protecting the environment. So roles of big companies to protect environment. A company's duties to abstain A company's duties to abstain from damaging the natural environments refers a company's duties. First of all, the word duties can be used as tax thing, and duties can be one of responsibility. So here duty is responsibility. A company's duty is to abstain from damaging natural environments refers to corporate environmental responsibility. Corporate environmental responsibility, CER, corporate environmental responsibility. This covers the environmental implications of a company's companies operations, which include diminuting. What is diminuting? DIMINATING, diminuting waste and emissions. I think diminuting is one kind of minimizing. Okay, include diminuting waste and emissions, maximizing the efficient use of resources and productivity, minimizing activities that might impair the enjoyment of resources by future generations. The idea of corporate environmental responsibility, CER, is for humans to be more aware of the environmental impact and counteract. It is one word, COUNTERACT, counteract their pollution on the natural resource. The idea of corporate environmental responsibility is for humans to be more aware of the environmental impact and counteract their pollution on the natural resources. One of the main factors is to reduce carbon emissions. Many of the studies focus. Let's understand how the sentence is started here. Many of the studies, we understand two sentences started with while, one at the same time, one saving the energy to help small producers. And here the idea of one of the main factors, many of the studies focus on trying to find a balance between economic growth and reducing waste and cleaner environment. So to control the damage to our environment, both the government and large companies must take initiative and come forward so that our next generation may have a better world to live. Only 33 minutes. 6 hours, and there is 33 minutes on my throat. Begum Rakha University, DM9. Okay, let's move on the next part. Prepare a summary for the following text. Prepare a summary of the following text. Okay? Privately owned land is private property. It is protected by the law because it symbolizes individual rights, the right to benefit from developing it, the right to profit by selling it. However, this attitude, 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 attitude. However, this attitude, this attitude, this attitude, attitude, this attitude cannot be maintained when there is a small minority of landholders and a large majority of landless people. Privately owned land is private property. It is protected by the law because it symbolizes individual rights, the right to benefit from developing it, the right to profit by selling it. However, this attitude cannot be maintained when there is a small minority of landholders and a large majority of landless people. Here, a thing came in my mind. One is socialism and one is capitalism. Capitalistic thoughts and socialist thoughts here. So this line, however, this attitude cannot be maintained when there is a small minority of landholders and a large majority of landless people is moving to socialist idea. I think so. In a situation of land scarcity, those with more land than the need cannot expect the government fully to protect their unused land against trespassers. I think trespassers means those who enter to someone's private area. Trespassers. Squatters never occupy productively used land. Even agricultural land they occupy unused land held by private speculators or by government agencies. Squatters. What is squatters? I don't know. Squatters. 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 Squatters hold a traditional view of land ownership, the ownership of use, that people have a right only to the land that they can and do use. Wow, that's a good thing, I think. Squatters hold a traditional view of land ownership, the ownership of use, that people have a right only to the land that they can and do use. So the thing is, if I have 50 acre of area and I only use 10 acre totally in my resident, in my agricultural and other all things, I use only 10 acre. There the 40 acre is not mine. I can only protect that 10 acre. I think so. Let's read it furthermore to understand it better. Okay, squatters hold a traditional view of land ownership, the ownership of use, that people have a right only to the land that they can and do use, that one actually establishes ownership through use. What they lack is the legal tenure, tenure, legal tenure that will allow them to build for themselves, to develop their communities, and to obtain the required public services. Squatters hold a traditional view of land ownership, the ownership of use, that people have right only to the land that they can use, that they can and do use, that one actually establishes ownership through use. What they lack is the legal tenure that will allow them to build for themselves, to develop their communities and to obtain the required public services. Urban land reform, which will provide the large amounts of land necessary for expanding low income housing, cannot be avoided. This is not likely to occur by government purchase of land in the open market, zoning land for low income housing, or creating laws for land expropriation. Expropriation, land expropriation, exploitation. I heard the word exploitation. What is expropriation? EXPROPRIATION. Expropriation. Zoning land for low income housing or creating laws for land expropriation are more realistic measures. Limiting the amount of land owned by anyone or nationalizing land are also important possibilities. This is a socialistic thing. Here, India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh, these things are not so much common here. Nationalizing land, this is not common here. I don't think government can also do any such things here. Nationalizing land, this is weird here to here also. To here also. Private summary. Oh, this was the text, and I have to give a summary. The question was prepare a summary of the following text. So this was the text. Now I have to give a summary. Okay, the summary is if we see a small group of people hold a larger area, large land ownership, and a large group of people hold a small ownership of land. This imbalance creates many problems. So in squatters, what is the squatters? In squatters point of view, one can only have the right to privately own land that they can and use only. The other lands, government can use them for the development of entire community. This is the summary, I think. Okay, the summary here that is answered by this book. Private properties are protected by the law, but in case of imbalance in ownership of unused land or properties, not always government may protect them. Used or cultivate lands are not occupied by the land grabbers through the lack legal authority but try to grab. Land reform in urban areas is also necessary to ensure the safety of low-income housing or land expropriation to realistic level. Okay, let's move on. I'm feeling sleepy. But I think I should complete 1 hour at least. Focus writing in English. Write an essay. Write an essay. Write an essay. Essay. EWSYSA on importance of a bank in the daily life of a citizen. Importance of bank in the daily life of a citizen. Bankers play a very important role in the economic life of a nation. But in Islam, there is controversies about the job of banker. Okay, let's not go there. Bankers play a very important role in the economic life of a nation. The health of the economy is closely related to the soundness. Soundness, wow. So, as far I know, sound means good. I'm sound, I'm good. Soundness, closely related to the soundness of its banking system. All the banks create no new wealth, but their borrowing, lending, and related activities facilitate the process of production, distribution, exchange, and consumption of wealth. Okay, banking system is all about wealth, financial issues. They don't create new wealth. They are just production. They are just activities of borrowing, lending, and related activities that facilitate the process of production, distribution, exchange, and consumption of wealth. In this way, they become very effective partners in the process of economic development. Today, modern banks are very useful for the utilization of the resources of the country. The banks are mobilizing the savings of the people for the investment purposes. If there would be no banks, then a great portion of the capital of the country would remain idle. Wow, this is good. This is good. If there would be no banks, then a great portion of the capital of the country would remain idle. Right? We see financial institutions' role to progress as supportive and stimulating economic, social, and environmental life. They create value by providing products and services that help people to improve their lives and fuel economic growth. How banks become part of the daily life. A single day of economic life couldn't function without banks. A single day of economic life couldn't function without banks. By attracting savings and granting credits, banks are the oil for the wheels. Phrase. Give a good attention to the phrase. Banks are the oil of the wheels. Banks are the oils of the wheels. Oils of the wheels. Banks are the oil of the wheels. Oil of the wheels. Oil, not of for oil for the wheels. Banks are the oil for the wheels that keep the economy of our nation turning. Without banks, we would have, we would have to pay. We would have to pay for everything with cash, which we would have to save somewhere. That's obviously very risky. Wow, that's also a point. A single day of economic life couldn't function without banks. By attracting savings and granting credit, banks are the oil of the wheels. Oils for the wheels that keep the economy of our nation turning. Without banks, we would have to pay for everything with cash, which we would have to save somewhere. That's obviously very risky. Banks and financial institutions have become an integral part of every citizen. Of every citizen? No, not every citizen, man. There is so much people in our country who don't have the basic things to eat. Basic rights. What are the basic human rights? Clothing, food, residence, mean housing, education, treatment, environment, entertainment. Okay, so those people who are very poor, who don't have anything, who don't have any area to stay on permanently, they, they don't have any money, they don't have food for nutrition, they don't have enough clothing, they are lacks of human rights. So here not every citizen so they said without banks we would have to pay for everything with cash, which we would have to save somewhere. That's obviously very risky. Banks and financial institutions have become an integral part of every citizen. Our daily economic life has become easier by the blessing of banking system. The main functions of bank mentioned below connect us with their service and activities. Number one, risk management. Banks are where people can safely deposit their savings, which banks then pay interest on. If there were no banks, people would have to store and protect their savings themselves, which would involve major risks. Savers can generally withdraw their savings at any time. The total amount of money held by a bank doesn't fluctuate much because they have many customers. This scale helps banks cover risks. A bank lends money to a lot of people and companies. If some are unable to repay their loans, the bank can absorb these losses and savers won't be affected. E-payment. Banks are largely responsible for the payments system. Electronic payments are becoming more important as people use less cash. This means that banks are processing more card payments, transfers, direct debits, etc. every day. ATM, credit card, debit card, MasterCard are examples of new payment system which popularity is growing up. Now people can purchase online ticket, do online shopping, perform e-business, etc. via these banking instruments. So the main functions of bank mentioned below connect us with their service and activities. Number one, risk management. Number two, e-payment. Number three, provision of loan. What is provision of loan? Banks issue loans to both people and companies. Without banks, it would be very hard for people to buy a home or start a business or for companies to make investments. In Bangladesh, banks are providing various types of loan such as home loan, car loan, salary loan, marriage loan, SME loan, etc. I don't know the full form of SME. To take these loans, there are a lot of customers. There are a lot of customers in our country. Now there are 59 commercial banks in Bangladesh, which altogether have 11 crore direct clients, including mobile banking clients. That indicates more than 68% people here have bank accounts. Then why you said earlier that every citizen? Okay, if only the adult population is taken into account, nearly 90% people have bank accounts. I still don't have any bank account. I don't have money, man. That's why I need a bank account to safely deposit my savings. Be serious. If only the adult population is taken into account, nearly 90% people have bank accounts. There were around 9,000 bank branches along with about 18,000 branches of NGO MFIS. 1200,000 post offices and 183,000 cooperative outlets, totaling about 2.1 lakh branches or outlets for the economically active population, generating at least one financial service point per 2,270 people. Number 4, mobile banking. Most of the banks are now providing mobile banking services which have connected all types of people. Even those who are living at remote area can easily make transaction instantly. By the end of October 2019, total registered clients of mobile banking were nearly 7.74 crore people. Moreover, it was just started since 2011. Now daily transaction has crossed taka 1218 crore. 1218 crore through this service. Citizens of Bangladesh who are in abroad are now able to send remittance by this banking channel. Mainly we use Bikash, Rocket, Nagod. These are also mobile banking services. Social activities. Corporate social responsibilities, CSR. Sometimes ago we heard about the okay, no problem. Okay. Corporate social responsibilities, CSR, in recent times. Corporate social responsibility, in recent times, has become an integral part of business. The contribution of banks in this regard is of paramount importance considering their unique position in the economy. CSR practices by banks not only improve their own standards but also affect the social responsible behaviors of other businesses. Banks have come ahead in tree plantation, scholarship for students, aid to reduce poverty, etc., which all are examples of CSR, and a lot of people are receiving these privileges from banks. So, a bank, as a matter of fact, is just like a heart in the economic life, and the capital provided by it is like blood in it. As long as blood is in circulation, the organs will remain sound and healthy. If the blood is not supplied to an organ, then that part would become useless. To secure customers' financial futures, to support people when making life-changing decisions in the processes of transactions quickly, accurately, and easily, and to empower customers to have greater insights into their finances There has no alternative of a banking in our citizen life. Exactly 1 hour. Tata.